Hey, you listed your FSBO. That's great. But before you move forward, you should know about common problems that FSBO owners face and how you can avoid them. So I think the best way to solve problems is by knowing what they might be in advance. Common problem number one, when a FSBO owner sells their home, it can take a month to get buyers to sign the purchase agreement. Sometimes they don't sign the contract at all until the day of the closing, feeling apprehensive because of not having professional guidance. When a realtor sells a property, the purchase contract is usually signed by both parties in 1 to 3 days. There are risks that arise when a FSBO buyer feels apprehensive. Everyone experiences some degree of buyer's remorse after committing to make any large purchase or sale. It's human nature. You know, that sudden burst of fear that feels like a kick in the gut after the signing is done, and it can linger 3 days to 3 months depending on the individual. People tend to act abruptly on this fear. Some will cancel their offer just to make that gut-wrenching feeling go away, even if they know it's a smart buy. Most don't really understand that buyer's remorse is something that is expected to happen to everyone and then subside, so they misconstrue it as a sign not to buy. Many regret canceling months later, but that doesn't help the seller who wasted time and lost other prospects and now has to start all over again. An experienced realtor gets the contract signed and executed right away to lower the odds of buyer's remorse killing the deal. I always warn my buyers in advance about buyer's remorse so they won't panic when it happens. Buyers that sign a realtor's contract understand that after the home inspection period ends, they will risk losing their deposit on the home if they cancel for no valid reason caused by the home or the seller. The thought of losing a deposit can sometimes help cancel out buyer's remorse. Sellers also feel remorse. When I have an emotional seller, I like to make an unbranded version of the videos I made to market their home that they could keep as a keepsake. Problem number two. Buyers arrive to the closing table and the closer asks for proof of homeowner's insurance, an HOA acceptance certificate, and other documents required to close. And the buyer says, no one told me I needed to have these things because I didn't have an agent. Sometimes buyers and sellers have to find a temporary place to live because it will usually take a week or two to get the HOA acceptance certificate or other items that may be required, depending on the town requirements. And their furniture is probably already loaded on a moving truck. Sellers may have to spend thousands to put their furniture in storage and stay at a hotel until the closing can be rescheduled, then rehire the movers again. All realtors must carry errors and omissions insurance to protect themselves from lawsuits due to misrepresentations or errors causing any harm to their buyers or sellers. FSBO owners are liable for errors and misrepresentations too, and they must be very careful in their actions, or they can get sued directly by the buyer. A few examples of possible FSBO lawsuits. The owner advertised the home to have hardwood floors and it was actually laminated or artificial wood. The owner knew about a home defect or environmental hazard and did not disclose it to the buyer. The owner did not provide a lead paint disclosure to the buyer. The owner or previous owner did not get a variance for adding a second kitchen or a permit for updates. These are just a few. There's a long list of reasons realtors are sued, so you have to be sure that all information you convey verbally and in writing is accurate, because having no E&O insurance means it's all on you. Many lawsuits seem frivolous, but some lawyers that get paid by the hour seem to encourage them anyway. I was once sued for selling a one-family home as a two-family home. Another realtor found out that my buyer was an investor with mega millions to buy homes with, and he tried to take my client from me by telling him that I sold him a one-family as a two-family. I was served by the court with motion papers, so I simply got a letter from the town confirming that it was a legal two-family home and sent the letter to the attorney who was suing me. Instead of the lawyer calling the town himself to find out it was a legal two-family, he chose to make money off the lawsuit first by charging the client $300 per hour until I proved him wrong. Most FSBOs take longer to sell because of less marketing exposure, less showing traffic, and inaccurate pricing. When buyers see that a home is on the market for 60 to 90 days, they wonder what is wrong with the home instead of what's right with the home. They also tend to believe that a stale listing will probably accept a low offer too. Problem number 5. FSBO owners typically do not know how to customize a contract and write addendums to the contract to protect their interests. Just about every correction or change along the way requires an addendum signed by both parties to be sure the contract continues to be valid. If you do not know contract law and do not have access to a realtor that does, I strongly recommend that you hire a real estate attorney to write the sales contract and all addendums for your FSBO. Problem number 6. If a buyer does not perform by the terms of the contract or cancels for no valid reason after the cancellation period expires, the FSBO seller will not have the National Association of Realtors get involved to help the seller claim the deposit. If the canceling buyer is willing to sign a release to voluntarily let the seller keep his or her deposit, that's rare but good. If the buyer wants their deposit back and the FSBO owner wants to claim the deposit in accordance with the contract terms, there could be legal expenses to dispute this if a realtor was not used. Problem number 7. Generally speaking, FSBO shoppers are usually bargain hunters, flippers, investors, and hagglers who see having no representation as a weakness, as opposed to serious buyers who expect to pay a fair and reasonable price for their home. 8 out of 10 FSBOs, on average, end up listing with an agent after getting tired of dealing with buyers directly. If you're one of the 2 out of 10 that make it through the sale, congratulations on your hard work and success. If you are one of the 8 out of 10 that end up hiring an agent, contact me with your questions and we can both decide if we're a good match to work together on the sale of your home or not. If you're outside of my local area, I can recommend a local agent for you. Don't forget to visit my website where you can get free FSBO forms, a cheat sheet, and some open house sign-in sheets at realtorific.com. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.